I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Arakwal people of the Bundjalung Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Are you ready to win at the game of life? Well, throw out that rulebook and get down to the business of being the best and most authentic version of you. Welcome to the Human Design Podcast. We're changing the rules around success, abundance, purpose, love, and life, where we're creating a planet where everyone can thrive in a world that loves and supports each other. I'm your host, Emma Dunwoody, a qualified master coach, human design expert, podcaster, and entrepreneur that is living the life of my dreams, breaking all the rules while doing it, making a huge impact, and living my design and manifesting miracles on the daily. Join me as I break down and simplify everything you need to live in alignment with your human design, teach you how to recondition your unconscious mind for greatness, and to take back your power so you can manifest your heaven on earth and serve the rest of the planet at the same time. It's time to give up the fear and step into your highest potential, to reach for the stars, to know and live your greatness. It's what you deserve, and it's what the planet really needs from you. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
This is your monthly reminder to go to the show notes and check out the Body Graph Chart software. I know you've heard us talk about this before, so I'll keep this very short and very sweet. But if you want to know the tool that we've used to bring in over 20,000 new leads and 5 figures in passive revenue into our business, then go check it out. It's amazing. Stop sending people away to other people's websites to get their human design chart. Instead, use this tool to put it on your own website. You won't regret it. And use the code Human Design Podcast, all lowercase, all together, Human Design Podcast, to get 50% off for a year.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Well, I am super excited to have with me today Annie Richardson and Amber Clements from the Human Design Conference. And yeah, people, that is here in Australia. I know all you Americans listening, you've got one already, but now it's our turn. We're actually going to do one here in Australia, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of the crew that will be sharing awesome things with you. So, ladies, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you so much.
I am pumped to have you here because I have a little obsession with reflectors. I think you guys are so powerful, and I'm always banging on about how I think way too many people talk down the power that lies within you two. So I'm super pumped to talk to you. All right, before we actually get into talking about the Human Design Conference per se, I mean, this is the Human Design Podcast. Let's start with you, Annie, even though I'm pretty sure you said fuck no when you were asked to go first just before we hit record. But can you please share with my audience your human design?
I say fuck no, but at the same time, I've got like 6 gates in my throat that's just always sitting there ready to just like, I've got things to say.
Love it.
So for me, I'm a 5-1. I discovered human design in 2019. So I'm one of those kind of hybrid, like 2020 babies, you know, when we all kind of start to get into this space. And when I first discovered it, I thought I was a projector, and because I did the whole like conversion to 12-hour, 24-hour time wrong. However, finding it was a 3-day bender for me. It was one of those most impactful moments of my life. And it's kind of just been a journey for there. It's been a self-discovery journey more than, I think we're all similar ages here. So, you know, when something like this happens in that period of your life, it's really impactful, and you just really take that mask off. Mm-hmm. So allowing myself to be who I am, and also honoring that 5th line. Yeah. With I have a lot of 5 gates. I have a lot of 5 tone in my chart. So it's been one of those deep explorations of self, which led me to create, you know, my little reflector podcast, where I just wanted to reach out and talk to other reflectors and hear their story as well. So There's my journey.
Yeah. I love it. So good, Annie. So good. And it's interesting. I'm running a mastermind at the moment, and we have so many line 5s in there. And I feel like a lot of the line 5s in the world right now, like, we're feeling the load, you know, we're really feeling the load of wanting to be that healer, that leader, the one that's, having the impact. And I literally just got off one of my mastermind calls, and there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of breakthroughs, there was a lot of incredible stuff. And I just feel like the line fives, like, they're really aware of how much is on their shoulders at the moment. So if you're a line five and you're listening, you've totally got this, and go find yourself another line five to hold space for you. Just saying. Amber, would you like to introduce you and your human design?
Sure. I am a 1-3 reflector, so I feel you on the 3. I feel like when I first found out about my human design, which is around that Uranus return around 40, I had already bumped into so many things. I think I kind of had figured out what it meant to be a reflector anyway, which is always, I think, interesting.
I love that.
Yeah. But it's good to have the one line in there to balance out the 3, though, I have to say.
I always say, like, of all the 3 profiles, I think the 1-3 is like, it's like you guys don't fall down as many times as I fall down. It's because the one's like, no, but I've got all the information over here. So, and the statistics and the data, and statistically speaking, if I try this one and that one, I'm bound to find an answer first.
Yeah. I always say it's calculated risk taking, right? Yeah. I'm going to go and jump in, but I'm just going to check first how hot it is.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Whereas I'm an absolute shambles. I'm the one that just jumps off the cliff because I'm like, I know I have all the answers somewhere. I'll just try. I'll see what happens. But I love it. So, yeah, I very much got into my journey as well at my Uranus opposition. It was 2018 for me, around that time as well. And, yeah, I didn't think that I would be this into it. I think the fascinating thing for me is that I asked the universe to really show me very specifically, after completely transforming my life, showing me very specifically what the missing piece to my purpose was. And human design came up in this really short period of time after I just, walked the Camino, which is an 800-kilometer pilgrimage. And I'd come across human design a couple of times, and people were like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. And they'd introduce me to it. And I was like, well, I'm a line 3. I don't want to hear that. Like, nah. And the language, because I'm also a behavioralist, I was like, oh, this language is really unresourceful. And when I promised the universe that whatever it is, I'll do it, it kind of bit me in the butt, because the thing that it brought to me in that 48 hours over and over and over again was human design. And would you believe that I was like, okay, human design. All right, well, I'll go down the rabbit hole. I'll do the thing. And I literally Googled best human design coach or something like that in Australia. And, of course, Kim Gould came up. And at the time, she was living one suburb over from me. And I had coffee with her literally the next day. And it was like, that was it. It just, sparked the whole human design thing for me. So, yeah, like, I just ran my experiment. I changed the name of my podcast according to, responding, waiting for my authority, all the things. It's been crazy. So, yeah, my experiment is evident because it's what I do every day. And I know that you two have clearly been inspired by human design, and obviously you've seen things happening overseas with the human design community, because it does seem to be a bigger community over there. And now you've decided that you're going to do this here. Like, what was the inspiration, Amber, to start this here?
Well, I think I've over the last few years, I've travelled to the States to be part of a human design conference over there and speak at that and just be involved in it, and loved being there and loved being in that community and having, talking the same language with people that spoke it. But I just felt like, how great would it be if we had something over here, similar ilk, people in the, there's more people that are aware of human design now. It doesn't feel like it's so, kind of shush and quiet and sneaky conversations.
Weird.
Yeah, weird, like, who are you?
Yeah.
So Annie and I were having lunch one day, and we just got into a conversation about, I said it would be great to go over here. Annie was saying, sort of saying the same thing. And I'm trying to think, it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it, before we actually put something to paper and started planning it. But for me, I love going and traveling, and I love being part of those other communities as a reflector. It's fantastic to kind of sit in that space and feel into it. But having something here with mainly Australians, it's certainly not, anybody can come, doesn't matter where you come from, but having a more of a strong Australian flavour in our space, in our community, the way that we do things. That really, for me, was the draw card. I travel a lot, or I certainly did probably pre-COVID a lot. And every time I meet Australians, we're just quite a bit different than everyone else, as I'm sure, anyone that's travelled knows.
Yeah.
So what a better way than bringing the two together, the Australian way of life with human design. We've got some great people like yourself now in the community that, have a platform to stand on and share what share this with our local peeps, rather than just all having sort of international people to connect with, which is wonderful as well. But of course, growing the Australian community, I think, is the goal. Wouldn't you say, Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to respond to it because I feel like, I've got my personality sign in 37, so community is everything. And I love what you said. I know for me in my business, and I travel, I do a lot of in-person stuff all over the world, and it's the game changer, like I just love being in person with people and just geeking out on human design. So yeah, Annie, tell us about your inspiration for bringing this conference to life here in Australia.
Well, when I discovered, again, I think it was, I was about 18 months in, a year to 18 months in, and I looked around and I thought, well, all this shit that can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
yes.
great.
Yeah, lucky because I've already dropped the F-bomb twice.
I didn't hear that, but I just wanted to check. But,
yeah.
I looked around and I thought, well, where are my people? Like, firstly, I was looking around going, well, where are the other reflectors? So that was my intention. And of course, I found Amber, and she was the first person who I had just chatting and reaching out and going, hey, do you want to come on my little podcast? And she did. And I just thought, I don't even know where this is going to go. I just want to have conversation. But before I knew it, I found more and more reflectors. And then before I knew it, I started discovering other people. And it was like, this is a beautiful community that we can build. But it was all overseas. And I didn't know where my people were here. And I guess when you speak to the reflector's like, well, we need a really good environment, or where's our community? And you sometimes, even though that's not factual, you take it literal when you're first in these phases, and you're like, I got to find my community. Yeah. But I had no community. And it wasn't, can I just be frank? I had Simone Gallagher on very early on many years ago, and she's like, Annie, have you heard of Emma Dunwoody? And I'm like, no, who's that? Like, that literally, you and I are like 2.5 hours living distance apart, but I hadn't heard of you. And that made me really sad, like in hindsight, looking back. So there's the intention of just going, I want to know people who I can, what you were saying, geek out about, and just talk human design and know that they kind of understand our culture, our lifestyle, and our language.
Yeah.
Like our, just how we can natter back and forth in our Aussie speak,
I love it. Our Aussie speak. One of the things that I'm so renowned for, and given that I would say, well, the majority of my audience is in the States, and the thing they're like, God, you're so direct, you're so frank. And I'm like, I'm just Australian. I remember when I was in my 20s and working in London, and they were like, wow, you're so feisty. I'm like, I'm not, I'm just Australian. We just call it as we see it. We are, very honest. And I think that, it's a different culture, and it's a beautiful culture as well. And yeah, I feel like we've got so many, in so many industries and so many experts, we do look to other countries. And I think that it's super important that we look here, because we, in my opinion, we live in the best country on the planet.
Absolutely.
And we're incredible humans. So, so tell us a little bit about this Human Design Conference. Let's start with, who's speaking? Annie, do you want to kick it off? I know the incredible Kim Gould is there, which I'm pumped about. But yeah, tell us a bit about who's speaking.
So we have obviously yourself, your lovely self, which we're very grateful for, and bringing in your wisdom and knowledge and just experience in that. As you said, Kim Gould. We've also got Amy Ruth. Now, Amy's a beautiful projector energy and has been in this space for a long time. And her and I work in very similar fields. And so when I asked her, she's like, yeah, I'll be there. So she's very much into at the moment, parenting by design, because she's come from that psychology background. Sarah Wilder actually came into my orbit recently, just because I had a fellow reflector friend who lives just down the road who had her first reading through her. And I'm like, who is this? And she's a beautiful elementress. I've got to say that really slowly there, elementress. Mm-hmm. But, and she does some amazing things here. So a beautiful generator in this space.
She actually was in HDX. She was one of my founding members in my membership community. Yep. I met Sarah Wilder through Yvette Mayer, who I do the Transits podcast with, and another reflector, actually, Yvette, oh my God, I can't remember her surname, who sadly died a number of years ago. They were really good friends, but that's who I met. I met her through. Yeah, small world, huh?
I know, and that's the more we've gotten into this, the more we've just gone, wow, we have actually been, in a way, orbiting each other's spaces for such a long time, but never, landing.
Yeah.
And there's the impact. It's just like that. Anyway, yeah. So Amy Ruth, and Anastasia. I've only had a little bit of experience. That's one of Amber's beautiful friends, so I'll let Amber speak into that. But yeah, we've just pulled together these amazing individuals, and I just want to publicly apologize for that 4-6 stuff, because I know a lot of people have gone, there's a lot of 4-6 energy, and then you're like, I'm actually a 3-5, and I'm like, oh God, thank you, because I knew there was something that it was like, we've got the 6-2 and the 3-5 and the 5-1 with Kim Gould and myself, and then Amber 1-3 and the rest are 4-6s.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Oh, good. Don't worry about that. And I'm pumped about seeing Kim. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, the depth that woman understands human design, and she sees it through a really different frame. She was there in the beginning. She learnt from, one of Ra's right-hand people. She's the real freaking deal. But she sees it really differently. And I'm a massive fan of Kim Gould. But yeah, Amber, tell me all about this last... What was her name? Sorry, missed it.
Anastasia Gulzis.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you spoke about Holly either, did you, Annie?
Oh,
that's all right. I can do that. So Anastasia is a former student of mine, and she has this incredible business of compassion and shamanism, and she's been in working with people for many, many years. And she's married human design with some of her compassion fatigue, healing, taking people through their shadow. For me, Anastasia is a woman that I like to celebrate women, especially as we age. We often get forgotten. We often get hidden. We get to a certain age and people stop seeing us. Remember the first time I went to a bar and it was almost like no one was there. I wasn't there.
I hear you. I hear you. I went through early menopause, so I feel like I got a head start on that, by the way.
That's 3 of us. We all did. If you did,
wow.
Because the 2 of us, Annie and I, were born a week apart. So really interesting. But we all both went through early menopause as well, we discovered. So yeah same. So for me, celebrating wisdom as we age, feminine power, and Anastasia really has had that. I mean, I've worked with her a long time ago. She had that from the moment I met her. She's powerful MG like you, Emma. So I'm very excited. What she shares generally is very powerful. So I'm very excited that she'll be there. We wanted to offer a spot to somebody that was what we call an up and coming, someone that's brings another flavour, but something different, but also her wisdom, her sage wisdom to the event. And then we have Holly, who's a manifester. We're really excited to have at least one of each type there. I think that was really important to have a voice. I think it's probably unusual to have 2 reflectors, but it's just the way it is.
We love it.
We're really excited about the differences, the journey that we're taking, and the fact that everybody's got a slightly different lens through which they're presenting. I think those that are attending are really going to get a lovely, juicy flow of different presentations and activities and things that we do through the journey.
So what is the and this is so going back to my behavioral stuff. Like, so what's the specific purpose? What's the focus of the conference? Like, what do you want the people that are attending to get out of it?
Community. We want to bring in-person community events back into the world.
Yeah.
There's so much, let's talk about, COVID, where we all went online, and that's amazing. But there is nothing more beneficial than being actually in person with another in a human design kind of lens, to just say, like, we're not putting you in boxes. We're not going to go, well, you're the manifestor, you're the reflector, you're the manifesting generator. This is how you operate. But it's also being aware and being in person, in energy, physical energy of people, and just going, oh, I can actually allow myself to feel into this space, to nerd out, geek out into this space. That's the intention. And having fun.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like you've just nailed part of my entire business plan, and why I've already got, I've got I think the first post that went out, I've got one of my coaches is in Australia, but the others are in the States. And my Aussie coach has just gone, hey, this human design thing, I'm coming along, yeah? Like, is this good? I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be good. And I've already got a number of HDX people that are like, yep, coming along, tickets booked. So, yeah, I know that my community, that's one of the things I hear the most. Again, I do have my personality sun's the 37. And so many people that come to my community, that's one of their primary goals. Like, they just want to find their people. They want to be able to go on this journey, with people that they feel supported by, to have conversations that they don't need to whisper about or choose who they talk to about it. So, yeah, that's super exciting. Amber, what would you say? What do you want to add to that?
I kind of want to add to that and say, the thing about the conference is obviously community, but it's the embodiment of human design, right? So whilst we call it a conference, we're not sort of having everybody just sitting on a chair and staring at the front. We're having the way that everyone's sitting is really about mixing and interacting with others and having conversations, or not. If you choose not to, if you prefer to just sit and watch, we have no problem with that either, right? But it's giving us the opportunity to get involved, to feel it, to touch it, to sample it, to integrate the knowledge. That is, for me, takes human design off the screen or off the page, which is still useful information, but gives us an opportunity to really process it ourselves, but also process it together and share what we learn and grow together.
I love that. And it's a big part of my principles as well, because what's the point of the knowledge if we're not actually living it? So, yeah, I love that. Tell us a bit about the, how's it actually going to flow? Obviously, I know that I'm talking about purpose, but you said something that's really intriguing. I think you said something along the lines of, well, if you look at the gap between like teenage and childhood or adulthood or something like that, I'm like, that's curious. Like, yeah, I can talk about purpose, but so that's just made me like, okay, I wonder what's the journey that you're taking us on, if that's how you see my role in it.
Well,
I love that. That was a very, very knowing, like, okay, here we go. Well,
Sun Gate in 56, we're pulling out the sun gates. Yes. Let me allow you to take you on a story. When we sat together and we thought about this, and I have to admit I probably manipulated this a little bit because I work in the birth doula space. I work predominantly a lot with women traversing their life journey and those chapters of us. So when we sat there and we thought about this, I said to Amber, could we consider taking people on a birth to rebirth through the lens of human design? Because it's been that impactful for me. And everybody I work with, or everybody that Amber works with, it's just honestly, it's this journey, right? It's this journey through life. And we thought, how can we weave this in? How can we make this a theme? And that's what we did. So we sat and we thought, how can we look at the life parts of as we journey through life and weave them into human design? And we can. And that's what we're doing. So, and that's where you come in with the purpose, and other people come in with different journeys of this as we explore our life through the lens of birth to rebirth, as in birth to death, through human design.
Oh my God,
so
I
that's
love it.
the thing. Yeah.
I love it. So tell us, who kicks it off? Like, who's birth and who's death and who's everyone in between? Tell us about the journey.
Well, don't know. You have to come and find out.
I'll be there. I'll be finding out, but I'd love as many people to come. Like, we want you to come, people. Come on.
We're kicking off with the birth. I guess we wanted to, given that it's our baby, and Amber, can I share? Would you like to share our story, or would you like me to wax lyrically here?
Go for it. You're on.
I know. She just goes, oh, she's going to keep talking. When we decided to do this, when we decided to actually like sit together and go, we are going to do this, we're going to actually form a official partnership. We decided at that point, after going down and having a beautiful meal together, that this was the time that we were going to birth this. And so we ran the chart.
Love
as
it.
you do for a business. And it was a 4-6 generator, emotional generator, by the way. And we thought it makes sense. So we birthed the baby. So we want to start the birth process. So we're going to start the birth. Amber's going to, because she's the mother. She's going to start the birth process. And we're going to lead us through all of our beautiful guests, speakers, facilitators through that. And you're coming into that purpose phase. And I guess Kim Gould, who we got. So we're going to talk about that. Amber, would you like to share that?
Don't forget. So we go. So if you imagine us, we birth, we move as children, growing up. So obviously we've got Amy Ruth, who works with, human design and parenting. So we kind of process through that. And then we start to put on our teenage pants. We're starting to get into that sense of who we are, and we move into, I'm just trying to remember. See, this is me trying to remember off the top of my head. Who comes next? Is potentially that's you, Emma.
Maybe.
Purpose.
I think I'm teenager to
that
20s.
Sounds like it's from memory. And we do know this well, but just not off the top of memory. And that's
It's all good.
hormone.
We've all got
That's
undefined heads and ajnas in the room. It's all fine.
Well, you're not really helping then, are you?
Yeah.
At least giving us no. And so we move into then to work. So we then step into the work. So of course the manifestation around, creating work, manifesting the right kind of career, or manifesting that in life. We're letting people, by the way, take the journey where they want to in their own presentations. We've just given the overview of what each section we'd like to do. So we're not all up there speaking about the same thing. We're giving people a really lovely variety of information and processing. Kim, of course. Then I think we go into Sarah Wilder, and Sarah's really talking about
the rise of the Phoenix.
The rise
so
of the
she's
Phoenix.
she's coming in with a lot of that planning, future planning. Yeah.
So as we step into that young adulthood where we're getting ourselves growing up, if you like. Kim Gould is going to be talking around her beautiful asteroids and stepping into that phase of life where we have the influence of certain asteroids in our lives. We move into some, again, just recalling here, the rest you probably have to wait and see because I can't remember. We're going into crone energy. So we come up through crone energy where we start to talk about like going into the darkest side of ourselves and coming out, like making love to our shadow and bringing out the mature, honest, raw, should I say, version of ourselves. And then we finish with a beautiful ceremony and a real letting go and having taken the journey across our time together where we've processed, the bits and pieces. We take what we've learned and what we love with us. We let go of the things that we've decided that it's time to kind of forgive or to let go and to process. And we kind of finish in that space of a bit of a celebration of our journey through the few days. I apologise. I have missed it. I feel like I've probably missed one or two people in there, but again, I'm
Well, it sounds fun. It sounds like we're, going to go on a bit of a journey and there's going to be lots of different aspects to look at. I know my community loves a bit of parenting when it comes to human design. We've done a number of things through parenting. I've got 2 MG children, so I talk about them a lot and I've worked with a couple of different specialists inside HDX, which is really cool. So, that sounds super exciting. What's the speaker? And please, honestly, what's the speaker you're most looking forward to? I'm not asking this as an ego question. I'm serious. Who are you most looking forward to, Annie?
I reckon I'm really excited for Kim Gould's stuff. That holographic human design, I think, is just going to blow my mind. Second, I'm really excited to hear what Anastasia's got to say. I've been just on a Zoom chat with her, and I even said to Amber, "Who is this woman, and how can I sit next to her more often?"
Oh, I love
you know
that.
what I mean?
I'm
I had that.
excited.
Yeah, I was just like, "Whoa, yeah, yeah."
I love that. And I know with Kim Gould stuff, like, you know, I suppose I was obviously attracted to her energetically because she doesn't walk the normal path. You know, so many people that don't resonate with their type end up with Kim. And I think for me, when I did all the asteroids work with her, I was like, that's what, like, there's my gaps. There's the things that weren't like lining up for me. So yeah, I'm massively looking forward to that. Amber, who are you looking forward to?
Oh, look, it's like asking me to pick. I'm not. I'm just looking forward to everyone, and that's not me copping out. I do not have one particular person that I'm really looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to everybody that's on the agenda. I'm excited to bring us all together. To be honest, I think that that's what's powerful, and I love connecting and lifting each other up.
Yeah.
Because we're all bringing our own stuff to this. We've all got our own things going on, but together, you know, we rise rather than keeping that separateness, but actually sharing what we create as a collective. I'm very excited for, I have to say. And I think everybody that we've got on the list is going to bring something pretty amazing. And I mean that honestly, because we really have felt into who we felt called to have there. Like, we really wanted to make it feel like an interesting, diverse group of people who had something special to bring.
Yeah, amazing.
Can I also just say, though, like, it just echoing leading on from what Amber was saying, like, when we sat in this space of going, well, who can we bring? We didn't know very many people
in Australia or
Australia. In Australia, yeah, pardon me, yeah, in Australia. we were just like, well, who's here? You know, and it was a little bit, that was another, like, when we go back to what you were saying there about what's our intention, it's just like, we need to find our people and we need to build more here in our own backyard and find them, because I know they're there. Now that we're sort of like raised our little head and gone, oh, who's here? We're finding all these people like yourself and everybody else, and we're just going, oh my gosh, there is so many amazing humans in our backyard, and we're bringing them together or trying to sort of like, oh my gosh, you do that and you do that. Yvette, who you have on your pocket, I didn't even know about her either. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, I just feel like it's just opened up for me personally all of these beautiful people that I didn't know before, just by starting to expand my awareness into just our little place on the planet.
I love it. So good. And yeah, Yvette was another one. She did my mastermind. She's a friend of mine, then did my mastermind. She's in HDX, and what she's done, like, her background, she was basically the general manager at the largest media agency in the world, in New York. And she's now taken all of that knowledge, and she works with human design and using marketing. Like, she's teaching inside HDX as well, which is just freaking epic. And you're right, like, we have so many people. I think one of the big things about being Australia is we're so ingenuitive, you know, like, we're like, yeah, human design is cool, but what if we did this? You know, Kim kind of started that, you know, I mean, I guess she's a generator. Part of me is like, you should so have been a manifestor. But, you know, like, straight away, she's like, yeah, this is the straight human design. But what's all this? You know, what's happening with these asteroids? And she's just been obsessed. And she's been talking about putting out a Gates book for years. And I wish she'd bloody do it, because it would be epic. The way she talks about the Gates, oh my God. But yeah, super exciting. So, yeah, exactly. I'd pay for that. So, given the community is a large part of this, and obviously I know a lot of my community, that's what they're really looking for, that in-person connection and all those things. With the actual conference, you say we're not going to just be sitting there listening to people. What are the ways we can interact in between the speakers?
Oh, okay. So we're waiting for each other to answer then. I'll start this one, shall I, Annie? Look, more about some of the activities we're doing. So some of the sessions will be interactive, working with people. We have having it catered so that if people choose, again, it's an optional thing. We don't want to make people feel forced, but having that opportunity to sit together at lunch, we're opening with an opening night, kind of calling it a cocktail opening night where we've on the deck outside in the in the beautiful Australian weather, overlooking some beautiful scenery, having some food, doing some activities where we get to help people mix and mingle. So if somebody comes on their own, they're not feeling kind of left out. But during the actual sessions, some of them will be talking presentations, will be great. Some of them will be, we've got a bit of dance and movement in there. We're going to have a bit of a drumming session. We've got role play. So it's just, we're trying to make it so that it feels like people not only connect with others, but they're not just sitting there for all of the sessions.
Yeah, I love that. And my session, just a sneak peek, there will be an exercise for people because, it's all well and good to be teaching stuff, but I want people to be able to put it into action on the day. So, love that. Annie, you want to add to anything to that?
That was essentially it. Like when we, going back, intention, don't want no boring, stuffy conference bullshit. Like we just want, and people learn, both Amber and I in different ways, and most people, they're in this space. We're different kind of educators, and we know that brains work differently, and we know that, you can't just talk to people, you can't tell them what to do. And that's not the experience of human design. Mm-hmm. Human design is very much about a lived body experience. It's just like, well, how can we bring or weave this kind of stuff in? And so how we've kind of structured it, everyone, we're inviting them, bring something into that to go, okay, we might speak to you for 10 or 15 minutes, but how are we going to implement this into our life? Or what are ways that we can implement this into our life? So, sound, like all the senses. We want to just invite all the senses in, and we want to use our bodies and our experience and our awareness to appreciate it, and not just be like a scary conference that you feel like you've got to know about human design. It's like you can just be a beginner who's really curious. You're still going to learn so much and embody it, probably more than somebody who's over here trying to figure all this shit out over the internet. So it's just like it's a really deep dive in to just go, I want more now. I want to know more.
I love it. I actually saw this meme on Instagram. This is a long time ago now, probably a couple of years ago. And it just said, if I'm learning from someone and they're not an older, experienced woman, I am just not interested. And I feel like this is where we're at, like this turning point. We're starting to really value the humans that have been on the planet for a longer period of time, that have had so much more experience. And I think that is something that I'm really excited about. I feel like human design is something that so many people all over the world are into, and all power to you. Let's all do it. The more of us that are banging on about this, the more we're going to get it out there into the mainstream world. And I think it's so important that there are so many powerful women here that have done the time. We've lived outside of our experiment for so many years, and we've got, knowledge and experience in other realms, in other areas that we've, woven together with human design so that we can really empower, the people that get to come along. And, we're all going to get in there together. I can't wait to listen to some of these talks and have these experiences myself. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Beautiful. That's so true. Weaving magic together.
Sounds fun. So, last question. What's the greatest potential that you see for this conference? Like if you had a magic wand and you'd be like, this is what I want for my baby, this conference, what would that be, Annie?
I want more Australians to know about human design. I want more Australians to look towards other people, leaders in human design that are not just Australasian. Let's not include not include our New Zealand and Oceanics, but I want more people to find human design and go, oh crap, what is this and how can I learn? And then they choose somebody to learn or somebody to allow them to embody it with a fellow person in our culture and our speech, our language, our environment.
Yeah. Amazing. Amber, how's your magic wand? What's your potential?
Well, I mirror the desire to bring more here. It'd be, how great if we could have these conversations. I mean, years ago, one of my first careers was I was a high school teacher. So, having human design embedded into, some of the learnings, can you imagine? It was embedded into the schooling system, or we know in business, working in corporate, I mean, how powerful human design could be used in that corporate space if it could. So just more awareness, but definitely more awareness here is key. But I also think as well, one thing I've definitely learned is that there's too many people that feel alone, that don't feel like they've got someone to communicate with. And I love getting on Zoom or on one of the online platforms and talking to somebody overseas and connecting and having that. But there is nothing better than actually having a really good old hug, or maybe you don't want to get that close, good old nod to someone that you're looking across in person.
Yeah.
So I'd love other people to have that experience, if nothing else. Even if it's just they occasionally want to have a conversation, something to do with being a manifesting generator or being a projector, and they've got someone they can actually do that with that's in their space, not too far away.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like.
I love that. Yeah, because I think sometimes we feel like we're just like, I don't know, in the back row, or, there's certain things that we can't do because we're so far away. And yeah, I think it's beautiful of both of you to have created such a beautiful event that people can come along to in person, hug it out, have conversations, share a meal. I think that's super exciting. So where actually do these people need to go, and when do they need to go there, Amber?
Well, it's on in May the 24th to the 26th this year, and it's in a place called Kingscliff in northern New South Wales. So it's at the Mantra, which is a lovely spot. It just feels really feels like you're in a little bit of a holiday near the beach, but also a space that feels really empowering for us to stand and feel fresh and engaged at the same time. Not a stuffy old room, right?
Yeah, amazing. Exactly. And it's just up the road from me, which is super cool. So not far from Byron. And yeah, if anyone's coming from far away, make sure you come through Byron, say hi. So ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to sharing all things human design and purpose, which is my favorite thing to bang on about most of the time. And I'm super excited to share, and I cannot wait. Clearly I'm fangirling. I love Kim Gould. Can't wait to see her and all these other speakers, just seeing how lit up and excited you are just with these other people as well. So super fun. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for just having us and being you and participating and being a fellow Aussie, and just, really appreciate this platform, really appreciate you, really appreciate the work that you're doing, and looking forward to giving you that big hug in person.
Oh, watch out.
Absolutely. And I'd probably just mention, not to finish it off with this, but humandesignconference.com.au is essentially if you want to find out a little bit more.
Amazing. I was going to say, where can people find it? Is there an Instagram? Is there any social media?
Yes, Annie, it's HD Conference. Annie, it's HD Conference.
Yep. On Instagram?
Yeah.
Amazing. We will put all the links. I love it. Right now, for those that are not watching this, I'm watching Annie think. Yeah, what is it? Is it that? Is it this? I'm not really sure. But we will put all the correct links in the show notes so that you can find where to buy tickets, and you book accommodation there and all those sort of things as well. Yeah, super easy for people to come and stay.
Easy as. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Well, thank you again, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for playing along at home. I hope to see you there. I look forward to seeing so many of you at the conference. I know a lot of my crew from HDX are already signed up and coming along. So, come join me. Come say hi. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I trust you got what you needed from today's episode, and I look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now. Thanks everyone for being here all the way to the end of the podcast. I hope you got lots of value out of it. I certainly had a lot of fun doing it. Could I please ask that you share this podcast with friends if you found it valuable? And also, bonus points, could you leave a review for me as well on Apple? It would be greatly appreciated. If at any point you would like to be on the podcast or you've got questions that you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, by all means get on my socials and DM me. Everything you need is there in the show notes. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.